MGO Network Price Prediction 2025, the craziest Layer 1 launch since Solana. Are you also afraid of missing the next 100 times altcoin? The MGO network has just launched with only a 45 million market cap and insanely fast transactions per second. This is exactly where it often starts, the thing everyone regrets in a few years, not getting in here. In this video, you'll find out whether MGO really has the potential to challenge Solana or if it's just another hype. Welcome to XNX Crypto, your channel for honest, data-driven altcoin analysis. Today, we're looking at a coin that does almost as many transactions per second as you can imagine, breaking everything you've known so far. The MGO network, now it's here. Do we really need another Layer 1 blockchain? The answer is yes, if it solves what others can't. And that's exactly what the MGO network does. In short, MGO is actually a Layer 1 blockchain project with a multi-VM and an omni-chain architecture. This means it supports EVM, MoveVM, and SVM simultaneously. Why is this important now? Because today, every blockchain somehow lives in its own world, liquidity is fragmented, users constantly have to switch chains, and developers have to learn a new language every time. But the MGO network solves exactly this problem. It brings everything together on one platform. Let's talk about the technology. On the testnet, MGO achieved over number missing transactions per second, or TPS. For comparison, Solana reaches number missing. The architecture is modular. This means developers can use building blocks like SETC, Rollup, or Obstacks to scale even more efficiently. And the best part? The whole thing is energy efficient. No proof of work, no unnecessary electricity consumption. Before we dive into the in-depth analysis, grab yourself a coffee, leave a like for me, and if you want insider tips on altcoins, then become an insider. Check out my free community, the Cenix Insider. There we share information about altcoins and altcoin gems. The link is down in the description. But a quick disclaimer, my channel is not financial advice, but purely for informational purposes. Let's get to the market cap. At 45 million, they are extremely undervalued, especially when you consider that other projects like Solana or Polkadot are in the billions. It's exactly these low-cap altcoins that are often the most exciting. They're highly risky, but also have the greatest upside potential in this space. That's why it's a strong 9. When only 16% of the tokens are currently in circulation, that's obviously not much. That means there's still a significant risk of dilution when tokens are released. Many investors have already experienced that a coin comes under pressure as soon as new tokens hit the market, and of course the price goes down. That's a risk, so here it's only a 4. So what does the roadmap look like? The roadmap is already clear, the testnet is complete, the mainnet has launched, and the focus is on SETC rollups, Obstacks, and cross-chain integration. So everything is on track here. But unlike many other projects, they're not making empty promises. They've already shown what they can do and have implemented a lot. Here, development, finance, and IT, including developers familiar with Rust, Move, and Solidity. That's obviously extremely strong. Experience alone is of course no guarantee of success, but it definitely increases the likelihood that they'll be able to solve potential problems in the blockchain world. Strength, 8. So what about the narrative? Solving fragmentation in web, uniting chains, creating true omni-chain liquidity. That's exactly what's trending right now. In a world where everything is ultimately fragmented, the one who connects everything will naturally come out on top. A strong 9 in this area. So what problem are they actually solving? They want to solve the problem of siloed liquidity in the market, meaning incompatible VMs, poor user experience. Their solution is multi-VM infrastructure, cross-chain bridges, and unified liquidity. So imagine, in the future, you won't have to switch between Solana, Ethereum, or SUI anymore. Instead, everything will happen on one platform. A strong 9. So what about sustainability? MGO doesn't rely on proof of work, but instead uses efficient mechanisms like Move and ZK Rollup. This massively reduces energy consumption. Even though there isn't an explicit green branding strategy being communicated, the architecture is still resource efficient. That's why it's only a solid 7 here. So what about the investors? Do they have significant capital? The funding was at 13.5 million. Well-known names like Coin Ventures naturally inspire trust. Of course, capital alone doesn't create an ecosystem, but you can't do without it either. Still, they're well positioned here. 9. Now, who are the competitors? The competition is strong. Cosmos, Polkadot, Solana, Aptos, SUI. But the Mango network sets itself apart with its multi-VM strategy. If we take a look at the competition here, things get really interesting because many old coins can be bought and the market share of the layer 1 market is extremely oversaturated. There are a lot of them in this regard. That's why I do analyses. Feel free to check out the 10 times universe where I show you different altcoins. And just so you know, I have 2 more altcoins coming up next weekend. I'm now focusing more and more on low-cap altcoins. You can imagine how exciting those are. So make sure to subscribe to the channel and activate the bell so you don't miss any altcoins, especially in the low-cap sector. In this area, it's definitely a solid 7. So what about Mango's marketing? Active on X, active on Telegram, active on Discord, giveaways, airdrops, exchange partnerships, classic but solid marketing. Here, it's a strong 8. Then, how simple is the idea? Multi-VM sounds technical at first, but the idea is actually simple. Everything should be on one chain, everything is brought together, a strong 8. Next, what is Mango's long-term vision? Omni-chain infrastructure, AI, RW, DeFi, an extremely large playing field. Strength, 8. Then, are they deflationary? 100 billion max supply, no burns, no deflationary model, that's rather suboptimal, so here it's only a 6. Then what about the FTV? The FTV is at 285 million, with a ratio of 6.2 times. That's solid, but not an exaggeration, so here it's a solid 7. Then how does it look with liquidity, the volume? The volume to market cap ratio is very strong, which shows they have liquidity. It's being traded, a strong 9. Then, regarding the token distribution, the team and investors have a vesting period of over 7 years, which is very fair. Strength, 8. Then, what about the top holders? The distribution is broad, no extreme centralization is apparent, so no extreme centralization, therefore a solid 7 here. Then what about the utility? Gas fees, staking, governance, cross-chain bridges, DeFi tools, extremely versatile use, that's strong, 9. Then what about the community? Growing number of followers on X, huge Telegram and Discord communities, high activity. Are you a holder of MGO yourself? What do you think of MGO? Are you a fan? Write MGO in the comments so everyone can see how big the community is, so the coin gets visibility. In this area, definitely a strong 9. Then another important point. What events are coming up in the near future? They don't have any major events here, but there are constant updates, listings, features like being DEX or new bridges, solid 6 here. If someone asked me whether the Mango network really has what it takes to be a 100 times altcoin, I would say yes, but only for those who understand the risks. Let's briefly summarize the analysis. The Mango network is a real low-cap insider tip with real use cases. The roadmap is clear, the team brings strong development, and the community is huge, but there is also a major drawback. Only 16% of the tokens are in circulation, which is suboptimal. The competition is fierce. There's Solana, Polkadot, Cosmos, Ethereum, all of them remain really strong, and of course it's a real gamble without proper adoption. In my personal ranking list, they land solidly in the middle with 78.2%. That means the chances are there, but it's not a guaranteed success, it's a calculated bet. The Mango network is definitely an exciting early-stage altcoin and at the very least deserves a spot on the watch list. Anyone who wants to get in early needs to be aware that it's obviously high risk. And now the most important question. Do you want to know if I already have Mango in my personal portfolio? Do you want to know which altcoins I have in my portfolio? Or would you like to see the full ZenX ranking list or my CX indicator? Then feel free to check out ZenX Elite, where you get the full package. You really get everything you need in the end. I've got the QR code here for you. You can simply scan it on your TV or just check out the link in the pinned comment or in the video description. Now let's get back to the question. Where could the price of the Mango network be in the coming years? Let's take a look at all of this by taking a little journey into the future. Now let's move on to the bear scenario. Imagine the project fails to achieve real adoption. The competition simply remains far too strong. The Mango network could come under pressure in this case. Maybe it would fall below the current price, maybe it would just hold its price, or maybe at best stay the same. Let's move on to the normal scenario. The network grows in parallel with the overall market. No hype, no real disaster, just solid growth. That would be a way for the ENC coin to achieve moderate or stable gains over the next few years. In that case, price targets of up to $6 would be possible. Now let's move on to the optimistic scenario. Now things get interesting. If AMQ manages to consistently implement the roadmap, cross-chain bridges operate successfully, and developers use the platform, then a price of US dollars could theoretically be mathematically possible. Let's move on to the very optimistic scenario. Imagine if the Mango network actually becomes the new Solana, a project that suddenly everyone is talking about. High adoption, strong community, major market presence. A scenario where the price could perhaps rise to dollars. Now let's move on to the vision for 2030 after the bear market in the next bull market. If the Mango network remains a real player by then, surpassing Solana, Ethereum, and all the others, then theoretically we could break the dollar mark. $1.52 could theoretically be possible. By the way, where you can find the Mango network, because you usually can't find low-cap altcoins on every exchange. But in any case, I'll link the exchange below where you can get the Mango network. You'll also get a bonus if you sign up with my link. So it's an extremely good start. Or if you're at the TV or computer, just scan the QR code here. Alright, now let's get to my chart analysis. What does it look like now? What's happening? What would I do right now? Hello everyone, and welcome to my chart analysis of the Mango network. As always, let's start at the beginning. I use TradingView and a custom developed indicator. Back then I used a lot of indicators myself, but they were all way too confusing for me. It doesn't help at all if the indicator is completely overloaded, so I developed my own indicator, which basically shows two things. When a lot of people are selling, we're in the oversold area, and that's indicated by a green dot, which for me signals an entry zone or opportunity. Just certain data points, so I know, okay, an entry might be possible here. On the other hand, if a lot of people are buying and we enter an overbought zone, that's shown with a red dot, which for me means I might exit or take partial profits. That way I'm fully informed and have a clear picture of the market. So what does the situation currently look like with the Mango network? As you could see, we had a push upwards here, and the XNX indicator also showed quite well that there was a trend reversal at this point. The small green and red ones basically indicate a trend reversal, either to the negative or the positive. Here we saw a push upwards, now back down again, and now on the 4-hour frame, we're slowly entering the area where we're approaching the oversold zone. On the daily chart, it looks different. As you can see, there's still a lot of room to the upside here. But that's simply because the coin hasn't been on the market for long, so there isn't much data yet. But on a short time frame, it looks good. At this point, I would definitely consider looking for an entry. But as I said, that's just my personal opinion. Everyone needs to do their own research. If you find the Mango network interesting right now, then I recommend you check out this altcoin analysis, which is also extremely exciting. Why this altcoin surprised me? It's best if you take a look for yourself. See you in a bit.